This is page M1 167. This might be a very large jump. So it's like a glove. Sorry, I can't talk. And then before you start this video, you should, or I should have posted these notes so that you guys could copy it down before the video. So please, if I haven't sent this and put it on today's page, please send me an email to make sure I did. Or if you can see this well enough, I will move it up and you can pause it. And then I'll move it down. So you can pause it again. So pause it where you need to. And pause the video so that you can write all this down. I know it's a lot of information. It's right down here. These are the steps for completing some stuff in the calculator. If you don't have a calculator, I am going to be looking for a link on how to get that, and I will hopefully be posting that. So if you have a sibling that has one of these calculators, this is a TI-84. I just have a fancy little cover on mine because I'm a nerd like that. But so this is this calculator, okay? So go ahead, pause. I'm going to start talking. So we are going to create a graph of data points. We're going to determine an equation for a line of best fit. We're going to determine a linear regression using technology, which is the calculator. And we're not going to do this least squares regression. I've never had to do it. I know that they show you where it comes from, but I'm just going to tell you, you want to trust me on that. So here we go. We're going to take, you guys know I don't like reading all of this stuff. So we're going to take these points and plot them in this graph, and we're going to notice something. So 45, 97. So temperature, so it's talking about frozen yogurt and how many people go buy frozen yogurt. So if the temperature is 45 degrees Fahrenheit, how many people go buy ice cream? So 45, so that would be about here, and then up to 97, so that would be just above this line because that line is 95, so I'll put it right there. Okay, 25, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better. So then 25, 55, so really cold, so below freezing, so 25 and 55, 60 and 85, so over to 60, up to 85, 15, ooh, that's really cold, 15, 37, would be about there, and 100, 100. So if it's 100 degrees out, there's a ton of people going to get, and yeah. So let's look at this one. It says plot the first point. We already did that. Is there a pattern? So from this point to this point, was there a pattern? Okay, maybe you say, well, it's like 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe 22 points up, or 22 customers up, and it went over 10. Okay, well, it's not even close for that next one. Look at the next point. It goes really high up and then over. What about the second point on the graph? That's what I just talked about. The third point, well, now it went back down. It was warmer and there were less people. Well, maybe that was a school day and nobody wanted to go out or something. So we're going to use a linear model. So a linear model just means a line to plot on this. And so I'm going to actually use, I was going to use a piece of string, but then I forgot to grab it. So we're going to use a pen. So if I drew a line like this, notice it would only go through 2 points. If I drew a line like this, it would be closer. So what we're actually doing here, this is called the line of best fit. So you're going to draw a line, and I'm going to actually use one of these see-through papers. So I'm going to draw a line that I'm going to try to get the same number of points above as below. and it's just going to be an estimate. So, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. So if I put, let's say, like right there, let's go like that. No, that's too far. Let's do this one. So let's go draw a line between those points. And it kind of smeared, but that's okay. You guys won't judge me. So, and this is called the line of best fit, sometimes also called the trend line. So if you paused the video and took those notes, you would know the line of best fit is the estimated line that generalizes the data. So if we look at this, we've been talking about slope and how this has a positive slope. Well, as the temperature is going up, I could use words to describe this line. As the temperature goes up, the number of customers increases. Okay, so it says use the line to write an equation. So we're going to write an equation in just the best we can. So we know it starts at 30, so our b would equal 30. Now let's try to find our slope of that line we drew. So it's crossing there, maybe there. So remember, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. I would have to count. It's at 35, now it's at 70. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And then this side is also going by 5, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So I would do 35 divided by 40, which is, sorry, I was picking up my notebook to get my calculator and I dropped it and it clicked and stopped. So 35 divided by 40, 35 divided by 40 is 0.875. Okay, so that's all we're doing right there. Now we are going to go over to these steps in our notebook. So we are not going to work on making the graph today. I wanted this information all together, but we're going to put the information in the list and then find the equation. So here we go. I'm going to clear my calculator because I've messed with settings. You might want to clear it just to make sure. So to clear your calculator, you're going to hit the second. You're going to hit this plus sign. See how it says MEM for memory? Then you go down or hit the number 7. You hit the number 1, which says all, and then the number 2, which tells it to reset. Okay, so now it says RAM cleared. Now I'm going to follow these steps. So it says anytime you see a box, that means hit the button. So I'm going to find the stat button, which is right here next to the arrow. It says STAT. So hit that stat button. Let me focus. There we go. Then I want to go to number 1. You can also hit the number 1. And then it says input X values in list 1, input Y values in list 2, and make sure you hit enter. That should be a box around that. Enter between each number. So I'm going to type in, these are my X values. So 45, enter. 25, enter. 60, enter. 15, enter. 100, enter. Now I'm done with all of the temperatures, so I need to move to list 2 to do the Y values. So I'm going to go 97, enter. 55, enter. 85, enter. 37, enter. 100, enter. Now, these 2 lines or dashed lines right here have to be in the same spot, so check that, make sure they're in the same spot, or you didn't get one number entered correctly. So that's this step. We entered them into the list. This next step, this is to find the regression equation. So you're going to input the data, which we just did, then hit the stat button again. So hit stat. It says over to calc. So that over to the calc tab. So notice across the top, these are little tabs. You want to hit the over arrow till you get to calc. you can either go down to 4 or you can hit the number 4, the button 4, which says, and I'm going to go back and show you that again. Notice this one says line reg. That stands for linear regression. Notice it's in the form ax plus b. This one down here is a plus bx. So this one is like we've been looking at where it's mx plus b. We just have to remember the a is the same thing as m. Okay, now it says x list is list 1, y is in list 2, which is what we did. So you're going to hit enter, 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 and then when it gets down to calculate, hit enter one more time. So notice our equation. So the equation that it just gave us is a equals 0.6865, which we said 0.87, so for our estimate, that was pretty good. We did pretty good estimating. And then we said 30, and it said 41. So 41 would have been technically where our line should have started, and then it should have gone up 0.68 over. Okay, so let's write our linear regression equation. So a equals, which is the same as m, 0.687, I'm going to round it, and then b equals 41.16. So that would be our equation. Now, there is one more step on your list. Notice down here it says must have diagnostic on. So notice it says R is the correlation coefficient. That's our next section in the book, but I'm going to go ahead and show you when I'm doing the calculator stuff how to do it. So I'm going to turn on my diagnostic. So that's these steps right down here. So I'm going to hit the second button, which is the blue button. Then I'm going to hit the 0. Notice it says catalog. See how it says catalog right there above it? Since the second button is blue and that catalog word is in blue, you have to hit the second button to get catalog. Now, you have to go down, that's a down arrow, or supposed to be a down arrow, until you get to diagnostic on. So keep hitting down, and it takes a while. You have to wait until you get to diagnostic on, and then press enter, and then it has to say done. So I should have, I put enter. So it should say done. Once it has said done, you're going to run these steps again. If you remember to do this before you run this, it will give you the R value. So stat, go over to calc, go down to number 4, enter, and you're going to hit enter until you hit enter on calculate. Notice it now has the R squared. Ignore the R squared. Oops, I need to write it a little higher. Ignore the R squared, and our R value is 0.83. And that is the correlation coefficient, which is what we will do in the next set of notes.